movie is making me extremely anxious.
Huh, I didn't get that.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Movie Night with the Youngs. I'm Brittany.
And I'm Nicole.
And we're here continuing our month of movies that scared us that shouldn't have.
This is a bad category.
It started out really fun and exciting, and then now they're slowly getting to where I'm just like, I can see why we were scared by these, but I'm also just like, they're kind of boring.
Boring and draining to me.
Yeah, but like we just had such good picks, and I'm just like, I don't want to abandon them, but I'm also just like,
Yeah.
Well, I guess with that really encouraging start, we'll tell you this week we did the movie The Last Unicorn from 1982, directed by Arthur Rankin Jr. and Jules Bass, starring Mia Farrow, Alan Arkin, Tammy Grimes, Angela Lansbury, and Christopher Lee, which I feel like that's my first note. Immediately when I saw, I didn't realize how stacked this voice cast was.
I recognize the voices, but I'm not good with the names.
Well, I mean, Angela Lansbury, Queen of.
I need characters, remember? I don't know people's names.
Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast. Jessica Fletcher from Murder, She Wrote.
Okay, see? I know characters.
Christopher Lee, Sound of Music. Lord of the Rings. Alan Arkin. I mean, I forgot Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges, who I'll get into it, but he just feels very out of place in this movie. But yeah,
it's out of place.
It is a little bit out of place. I was reading something when I was just kind of like exploring it a little bit, and it says that like this is like one of the most darkest animated movies of like the 20th century. And that when it originally came out, it had a G rating, but then in like 2004, they changed it to PG-13.
Interesting.
And I was like, did it really have a G rating? Because there's nothing about this movie that is G.
Yeah. Other than it's a cartoon.
Yeah, I think that might be the reason why.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we'll just get into it, shall we? With our enthusiasm. So
this movie was just very boring for me this time around. So,
I mean, I didn't think it was boring. I just think that it was like, it didn't capture me.
And another one we used to watch a lot, I feel like.
Watched it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, watched it all the time. But yeah, so The Last Unicorn is an animated film. The movie starts with these two hunters going through the forest, talking about how this forest isn't going to have any game there for them to hunt because it is protected by a unicorn. And one of the hunters was like, there's no more unicorns left. And he's like, no, this is the last one. And when they leave, they tell like the forest, be safe, unicorn, like protect yourself. You are the last one. And they leave. And lo and behold, out comes our unicorn, who I realize they never say, well, maybe I'll hold that. But she comes out and she basically sits there and thinks to herself, am I the last one? Am I the last unicorn? Like that can't be. This starts off the scariness of this movie for me because when she's alone, she only has like internal dialogue.
And the voice, I feel like the voice doesn't match the character to me.
I mean, I feel like the voice does match the character. It's Mia Farrow, who is very ethereal and like light and kind of a little bit, but it just is creepy because like it's just voiceover over like a horse that has no emotions.
Yeah, but it also has the voice has an echo too when she's talking to herself.
Yeah, which I think is supposed to probably differentiate that she's talking in her mind versus out loud.
Yeah.
But my first kind of question is, she sits there and she just wonders, am I the last one? How can that be? And I'm like, do you know what another unicorn looks like?
Or she wonders that for quite a bit of the first beginning of the movie. I feel like
she sure does. But like, how does she know? Has she ever met another unicorn?
I'm assuming so.
Like, it's just,
I don't know.
Besides these men, like, I'm just curious, like, what is her relationship with other unicorns? Because there's no other unicorns in her forest.
Yeah, true. Maybe so, she like, just always assumed they were out there.
But how did she? That's what I'm wondering. How do you assume that you're out there if you've never met another unicorn to begin with?
True. Well, how did the men even know the unicorns are out there? I thought men can't see unicorns.
The myth, the legend. Well, I mean, I guess he's saying that there's other places probably that are no longer protected. Like he says that like animals don't get hurt there. It doesn't rain, it doesn't snow. It's always beautiful. Beautiful.
Mm,
It's always beautiful in the forest. So a unicorn must be there protecting
I
it.
guess so.
Well, the unicorn is questioning this, and in the midst of her questioning, this annoying butterfly shows up.
Yeah, they could
And
have taken that out.
oh my gosh, this butterfly comes up and starts talking to her, but isn't really talking. Apparently, these butterflies, they only sing songs and do jokes and like say riddles.
I was gonna say talking riddles, yeah.
Yeah, and he tells her, "You are the last unicorn." Or she asks, "What is my name?" Which I'm just like, we don't really know what your name is this entire time.
Yeah.
Like they when in unicorn, where she's a unicorn. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, but I think because he's like, "Oh, you're a unicorn," or "My unicorn lady," or whatever he says, and she's like, "Oh, you do know who I am." Like, maybe her name's Unicorn.
So she's the one unicorn that's named Unicorn?
I don't know.
I mean, I put down what is with all these fantasy movies so obsessed with people's names. Like again, she's like, "Say my name if you know it." Like we just had last week with Neverending Story. Like why are people so obsessed with people's names in these fantasy
Yeah.
movies?
Well, and when she talks about it, I thought she's like the queen unicorn or something. Like something about her is more special than just a normal unicorn.
She's the last one.
Well, yeah, but like when she says like, "Oh, you must know my name," like everyone knows her name.
Well, we don't know it till this day because nobody says it
Yeah,
still.
that's true.
She just acquiesces to unicorn. But
Mhm.
this butterfly tells her she is indeed the last unicorn and that this red bull has pushed all the other unicorns and covered their footprints on the dirt. Like, again, another riddle.
Mhm.
And she doesn't know what that means. This whole entire scene, I put down, it's making me very anxious because he just like won't stop moving and talking in these riddles and singing random songs that don't belong in this world. And then she's like constantly moving, like, "Tell me, tell me." Like, it made me, it really, I like my anxiety level rose.
I didn't get anxious, but I guess another movie where I got frustrated where it's going too slow. Just
It is
tell her
going
the
too slow.
answer.
Yeah, he doesn't, and he ends up leaving. And so she decides, "I'm gonna go search for the other unicorns." And she leaves her forest.
Mhm.
And this is where I think it's funny. It's not where the music kicks in, but like where the soundtrack starts. The music in this movie makes no sense.
Yeah, I
Once
noticed
again.
that in the opening credits.
Yeah, well, all the original music or with words is done by a band called America, and they're like they sound familiar to like Journey. Like
Hmm.
they're that kind of like 80s hair pop metal band. But besides the theme song that is literally the last unicorn,
Yeah.
which also bothers me, it's unicorn, not unicorn. Just don't you don't need to cut it up that much. But all the rest of the songs just make no sense and they
Mhm.
all sound super depressing.
I was gonna say they add to the creepiness vibe. Very dark and
Yeah.
dreary. It's supposed to be like happy. Unicorns are magic.
No, this is like the most depressing emo bass synthesis hair band soundtrack. And it's throughout the whole. But she goes on her quest, which starts one of the songs, and she ends up going through all these different places and she runs into a man who sees her and just believes that she is a horse.
Hmm.
And he tries to like rein her in with his belt, which I was also just like, what is going on with this belt, sir?
Bit
Like,
aggressive. Yeah.
yeah, it's a bit much. And she, in her internal monologue, realizes or remembers that men cannot see unicorns. So he just sees her as a horse. He doesn't see the actual horn on her forehead.
Which where did
And
that come from?
what do you mean?
Has that always been part of like the myth
Lore?
with you? Yeah. I've
I
never
don't,
heard that until I
to
watched
be
this
honest,
movie. It's like, has it always been like that with unicorns?
I don't think I've ever really heard any kind of unicorn lore, to be honest. I don't know much about unicorns besides they're horses with horns and they're very rare
Hmm.
and magical.
Horn, single.
Horn? Well, I was talking about unicorns have horns. Unicorn don't have horn.
What?
I don't know. This movie's got me all kind of messed up. But he tries to he tries to, I was gonna say kidnap her. He tries to take her.
Capture her.
Yeah, capture her, and she fights her way out and continues on her journey and ends up falling asleep one night on the side of the road, and up comes a caravan of basically like a circus, like kind of a dark freak show sideshow circus called Mommy Fortuna's
Mhm.
Midnight Circus.
Yeah.
And this is where I noticed the differences of animation throughout this whole movie. Like the humans are drawn so harshly. Like this
There
woman,
there's no detail in the humans, though. Like,
there's no,
I'm
there's
talking
a
about the
lot of
main
detail.
I'm talking about the main characters to me.
Oh,
Like,
well,
the creepy old lady, like, she has so much detail in her and her son.
yeah. Is that her son?
I think so. I don't
Oh,
know,
shit.
actually. I just assumed
Thought
that.
it was just her henchman. But no, like I agree. Schmendrick, who we'll meet, and Molly, who we'll meet
Mhm.
later, they have no detail in their
Yeah.
face. Not a lot of detail on the horse or on the
Mhm.
unicorn.
Mhm.
So much detail in every other person, and they look rough. Like these people have been through it. They got
Well, they're
warts,
part of a night carnival.
but everybody, they got warts, pimples, a bunch of wrinkles. They're also oddly proportioned. Like they're either super short and fat, or
Mm.
super tall and skinny, or
Mhm.
very large and fat. Like the body sizes just don't make any sense in this cartoon.
Yeah.
The
But
proportions are way off.
yeah, they're scary to me.
They are scary, and I think it's very interesting too because I was also in my reading or even just looking at the credits. This was like drawn by like a Japanese animation company
Oh,
and
really?
then voiced by American actors. Yeah.
I
So
would
I wonder if that was
never.
like specifically their Japanese drawing style, which in next week's movie, I guess we could compare.
Yeah.
But Mommy Fortuna jumps out of her little cart and she realizes she's like a witch, basically. She's
Mhm.
got magical powers. She sees what unicorn really is. She sees her as a unicorn. She can see the horn. And she's so excited because she has captured magical creatures and show them off to the world. But what we really find is that she has two magical creatures and the rest are just like a sick monkey and a sick lion that she like
Makes as an
magics.
illusion
Yeah,
to
she like
yeah.
puts magic on them so they look like these other mythical creatures.
Mhm.
But she captures Unicorn and puts her in a cage and starts showing her off to people. And that's when we meet one of our main characters, other main characters, Schmendrick. Sweet name, Schmendrick. Schmendrick the magician,
Poor Schmendrick.
who can also see that the unicorn is a real unicorn because he does have some magic abilities. But he starts to tell her, like, I will help you get out of here, but you have to trust me.
Mhm.
And the unicorn says, you know who you also need to let out? Hanging titties over here.
I was gonna say the creepy eagle vulture that has
Mr. Three
human
Boob
boobs
over
for
there.
some reason.
Yeah. Three Booby over there. They apparently have also in a cage a harpy, which looks like a giant fat vulture, but just with three sagging, droopy, yeah, human
It's like the
boobs.
Terminator character.
But hers were
Or not
perky.
Terminator, Total Recall.
Total Recall. Hers were perky though.
Well, true.
These are like hanging down, nipples super long. Don't
Yeah.
understand why that was a choice. That was a choice.
Yeah. I don't understand that one at all. Like,
That
not
was,
even close.
yeah,
There's another character, same thing that I don't understand at all.
that was an animated choice that they made. But
Mhm.
this character, this harpy looks terrifying. Like it is like a very big, scary vulture bird, which is
Mhm.
already scary. They say, hey, you need to let her out, and Mommy Fortuna basically says, like, if I let this bird out, she's gonna kill me. Like I
Mhm.
already know this bird is gonna kill me, which is like it's a good like 5-minute conversation just talking about how like, yeah, this one's gonna kill me one
Yeah.
day, so I'm not letting her out.
Yeah.
Like it's a very, again, this is a kids movie and we're sitting here talking about death that much.
Is it though? I don't Did they make it with kids in mind?
I feel like they did. It's based off of a book.
Did you read this book?
No.
Maybe that will help us understand the movie a little better.
I mean, I don't know. I just,
This is not a
yeah,
kids movie.
I think it was supposed to be a kids movie, but Schmendrick tells Unicorn, "I'll be back for you." He comes back later at night and tries to like magic sorcery his or her way out of this cage, and it doesn't work.
He's
Come to find out,
awful.
yeah, he's not really a good magician.
No, he's
He's
in the
like,
learning phase.
yeah, like some things work and some things don't. But he comes or he ends up saying like, "It's okay. I just wanted to try because I got the keys."
Just a waste of time. He
Yeah,
should have
he
just
just
done
wanted
that
to
in the
see if he
first
could do it.
place.
But he lets her out, and she then goes ahead and frees all the other animals, including the harpy. And the harpy is like freaking out.
Trying to kill her.
Well, yeah, like once she gets released, she busts out of her cage, starts attacking the unicorn, and then when Mommy Fortuna comes out, like Mommy Fortuna is like, "Yeah!" Like
Yeah,
she's like,
she's ready to
"Fine."
sacrifice herself.
Yeah, like she's ready. She's like, "All right." And it's just this bird swoops down and just like jumps on top of Mommy Fortuna, and you don't see what happens to her. You just see Mommy Fortuna's body on the ground and the vulture, the harpy over her, which I actually think is more terrifying than like actually seeing
Basically,
her
vultures
like,
eating her.
yeah, killing her.
Yeah.
And Unicorn tells Schmendrick, "Walk slowly, don't look behind. All immortal creatures, you never run from them.
Mhm.
Just move slow and come with me." And
Mhm.
that's what they do. They just slowly walk away from the scene. And the harpy, after killing then the little henchman guy, comes back up and tries to find the unicorn and Schmendrick and can't.
Yeah.
And then we go to a scene where basically Schmendrick was like, "I didn't know that was going to happen." And then Unicorn's like, "Oh no, she knew. Mommy Fortuna knew
Yeah.
that that was going to happen." And he tells her, or she tells him, "I got some information from Mommy Fortuna. This Red Bull that is hunting down unicorns apparently belongs to King Haggard. I need to go
Mm.
to his kingdom. Do you know where it is?" And Schmendrick is like, "Yeah, I'll take you." So they start on their journey, and she starts telling me, "Can you tell me, like, what do you know about this Red Bull?" And Schmendrick basically just tells her, "I know the legends. I know it could be this. I know it could be that. I
Mhm.
don't know the truth." And they end up getting to the limit or to the boundary to
Right
the
outside the
boundary
yeah.
yeah, to the boundary of King
Haggard.
Haggard's kingdom.
Mhm.
And some outlaws come up, and Schmendrick tells the unicorn to hide. She does. He hides terribly
Yeah,
and
because they
gets
capture
captured.
him.
Yeah, and it gets captured by the outlaws. At this point in the movie, which I thought was halfway, it was not. We still had plenty of movie left to go. And I was like, all right, I feel like a lot is happening. I wrote down, again, this movie is making me extremely anxious.
Huh, I didn't get that.
I think it's a mixture of everybody's voice. Like having Mia Farrow's really like high and always in ha. Like she always is like that. And then you have
Panicking?
Alan, yeah, and then you have Alan Arkin's like, "Well, I'm not a great magician, but I am a magician." Ah, like the juxtaposition of them two together, I
Mhm.
think just really kept me on edge. And like anybody they meet could potentially kill them,
Mhm.
which I think just made me feel very like, ah.
Could be. I don't know, I just got creepy vibes, like, the whole
I don't
time,
feel
like,
like you paid attention to this movie because you're
I'm
not really
telling you,
saying
I
much.
was bored,
You
like,
don't
it
seem
was
to have
hard for
any
me to it was
opinion.
hard for me to pay attention.
Like, I feel like I'm just talking here and you're like, "Mhm, yeah,
What do you want me to say?
stuff."
It
I don't
was
know.
I'm sorry, honestly, this is boring to me this time around, like, I don't know how we watched it so many times when we were little,
Ugh, well, we did.
'cause
We
yeah.
watched it a lot. Well, I guess I'll just continue my rant.
I
Schmendrick,
did not feel anxious while watching it.
I felt anxious. Schmendrick is captured by the outlaws, and they take him to a band of wary travelers. I cannot remember what his name is. I think it's like Captain Calloway or something like that.
Yeah, mhm.
Here's where the weird proportional bodies kick in again. Captain Calloway is like short and fat, but still somehow way bigger than Schmendrick, who is tall and skinny. And then the outlaw who captures him is tall and fat.
I didn't even notice any of that.
I noticed all of it, and I was like, "Y'all, these proportions." And it also makes me feel again, just the differences of how these characters are drawn. I'm like, I don't feel like you guys worked as a cohesive team.
Everyone drew their own character and
They
then
just
put it
drew
together.
they just drew their own thing. Um, but here in this little band of outlaws is where we meet Molly, who is, I guess, the cook, the love interest of Captain Calloway.
Sure. She's the one that keeps she's the mom of the group.
Yeah, she's the only lady. So she cooks and cleans
Mhm.
naturally. But he says, like, Schmendrick says, I'm a wizard. Like, I can entertain you guys. I'll do whatever you want. Captain Calloway says, oh, no, don't worry about it. My little singing guy over here is going to sing us a song about how, like, I'm amazing. And Molly says, like, no, sing us a song about something real. Sing us about Robin Hood. And Captain Calloway is like, Robin Hood's not real. And this is where I get a little confused because at this moment, the unicorn comes up and starts watching, and it seems like she maybe starts some kind of magic thing with her horn.
I'm pretty sure she's the one that did it.
Well, but
Make it
Schmendrick,
look like he
yeah,
created it.
okay, maybe that makes sense because
Yeah.
Schmendrick then just no announcement, just goes into some spell. Don't know what he's doing, but like the wind shifts, bubbles are coming out, like all these things. And then in the forest comes out the ghost figures of like Robin Hood and Maid
Mhm.
Marian and their, Little John and Friar. No, Friar Tuck's not in Robin Hood.
I don't
What?
even remember the characters.
Little John is who's Friar Tuck? Is Friar Tuck? No, I don't know. But comes out Robin Hood and his gang, and all of Captain Calloway's gang follow them. And they're like, you're real. Like, save us. And
But
Schmendrick,
they're literally walking through people's
yeah, they
bodies.
don't they
They're
just
not
see what they
real.
want to see. They're not real. They're ghosts. They just don't get it. But Schmendrick is so excited. He did real magic.
Mhm.
He's pumped. Captain Calloway's pissed. So him and his little guy tie him to a tree, face forward, which I thought was
So he
strange.
can't see anyone coming, I guess.
Or like, is that a way to make his hands better? I don't know. Like they're like, hug this tree, my dude. We're gonna wrap some rope
Yeah.
around you.
See if you can get out of it.
See if you can get out of it. Basically, tell them like, we'll be back for you tomorrow if you make it.
Mhm.
And Schmendrick decides, I'm gonna cast a spell to get out of here, but his spell turns the tree into like a horny grandma, where
Giant boobs.
where the knots of the
Again.
trees are ginormous boobies that Schmendrick's whole
Face is
head is swallowed by.
I was gonna say he's smashed in there.
Yeah, and she's constantly like, "Oh, I love you," like rubbing her boobs in his face.
For some reason, it reminded me of Ursula. I don't know why.
I would believe that, but
Mhm.
this was a choice. Why is there a good 5-minute scene of Schmendrick motorboating a grandma Willow?
To go along with the first scene that we had with the vulture.
It makes no sense. But the unicorn comes up and the grandma Willow gets mad and is like, you can't have him, you can't have him. And the unicorn's like, eh. And she pushes her little horn onto the ropes
Mhm.
and frees Schmendrick, and the spell stops.
Yeah.
So they continue on their journey. And about halfway through, which ends up being like 2 minutes in time, Molly comes out of the woods and says, like, oh, you're leaving us so soon, Schmendrick. And he's like, oh, well, I gotta go on my way. And she sees the unicorn and actually sees a unicorn.
Mhm.
And she starts freaking out, which I don't understand. She starts like, how dare you? How dare you come now?
Yeah, something to do with when she was little, she never saw her. And then
Like,
now that she's an adult, she appeared or something. I didn't
yeah, like
understand
she
that
says,
either.
like, how did you come when I look like this now? And I mean,
Mhm.
Molly does look haggard. She's looking a little cray cray.
Well, I mean, she's living in the forest.
Yeah, like she's had a rough life, but she basically breaks down. And Schmendrick is like, do you know what the unicorn is? And she's like, if you've been waiting for a unicorn as long as I have, she's a unicorn.
Yeah.
And she forgives her and they become friends. Which at this point in time, I should probably say the unicorn has had internal dialogue, but for some reason she can talk, like her mouth actually moves. She can talk to Schmendrick and Molly.
Yeah.
So they can
It's like the people who believe in her or something can actually
yeah.
communicate with her.
Yeah. So Molly has now been like, I'm here for you guys. Take me on your journey. I will take you wherever you need to go. Also, you're going to King Haggard's. You're going the wrong way.
Yeah, I know the way.
I know the way. I'll take you. Cue scary song from America again.
Hmm.
So they
And all the
start
colors
going.
are dark again.
All the colors are, there's no bright color. I've actually realized none of these scenes take place during the day.
Oh, true. Except for the very,
It's
very beginning.
it's all at night. This whole
Hmm.
entire movie is at night. And yeah, makes everything look super dark.
Yeah.
Creepy. So they finally get to a point where they can see King Haggard's castle. They're sleeping, and the unicorn has a scary dream about like the unicorn's running and a Red Bull chasing her.
Hmm.
Turns out the dream isn't a dream, it's actually happening. Well, the Red Bull is starting to manifest
Yeah.
or starting to appear. And she wakes up and a big ball of red light. Guys, aren't you enjoying this amazing, accurate, detailed run through of this movie? The ball of light, the red ball of light and thunder and lightning comes, and the ball of light turns into a ginormous Red Bull that looks like he's on fire.
Hmm.
And he starts chasing after her. And Schmendrick and Molly wake up and just watch.
I was gonna say I don't like sense they don't have any sense of urgency to help
So
her at all.
it's pretty far into the chase before Molly even says like help her
Yeah.
to Schmendrick. And he kind of just like nothing I can do. He
Hmm.
wants her. No point of magic is gonna help now.
Hmm.
And then she's like, we'll try something. So Schmendrick just starts saying oogly
Whatever.
boogly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like magic do as you may. And what ends up happening is that the magic turns the unicorn into a human.
Hmm.
And the Red Bull is like, I don't need humans. So he just
Yeah.
leaves her alone and like leaves.
Which
But
I never remembered she turned into a human when I saw that. For some reason, I don't remember that at all in the movie.
it's a pretty big plot point to
Yeah,
forget.
I know, and I don't remember it at all. I was like, I don't remember her turning into a human, but okay.
The next like 45 minutes of this movie is
Yeah,
her being a human.
clearly.
Um, so she's human now. She's naked
Mhm.
because Terminator style. You just turn into a human. You don't have clothes. Um, so also, is this a kids movie? We don't know. But Molly starts freaking out and is saying like, "How could you do this to her?" Which
Mhm.
made me upset because like you just asked him to help.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
plus I'm not really understanding why she's freaking out in the first place.
well, she's freaking out because I think she already understands that
She's
she's
gonna be in
not
that
meant.
body forever.
Yeah, well, no, she's just not meant to be human. So, like, how
Yeah.
dare you put her also, like, essentially into another cage?
Yeah.
Like, she's not meant to be human. But Schmendrick, whose name now is growing on me, I like it. Uh, he says it wasn't my choice. The magic chose it. The magic must know that she needs to be in this form for us to talk to King Haggard and find out where the unicorns are.
Mhm.
But all during this time, the unicorn is now at a disturbingly high octave, freaking out about being in this body. So much so that she says, I can feel this body dying around me. It's been
Yeah.
2 seconds, girl.
Yeah.
You've been a human for 2 seconds.
Maybe.
Like
Humans
she's,
die pretty fast compared to
yeah.
unicorns,
And
so
this to me is actually the moment where I begin to abhor the unicorn
because
for
she's
the
very
rest.
helpless.
She is useless and she's helpless.
Yeah.
All she does for the rest of the movie is complain, be
Mhm.
rude to other people, cry,
Question why
like,
she's there.
yeah, stares out at the ocean. Like, she is
Mhm.
absolutely useless and becomes, like, we'll talk about it when it gets there, but like, she becomes the stereotypical 80s female character that we've been watching in all these movies where she can't save her life for crap.
Mhm.
She's got to be saved.
Yeah.
And it's sad. Like, she was on a mission, and then from this point forward, she just goes downhill.
Yeah, I was gonna say she started off really good, really strong. She's like, "I'm
Yeah.
gonna go save these unicorns."
And now I'm like, take it down a notch, girl. Only dogs can hear how hard you're screaming right now. Like how you're screaming. It's annoying. Again, and just adding to my anxiety of like I seriously sat there and I was like, I'm overstimulated by this woman's voice. I can't. Ugh,
Hmm.
I don't like it.
It sounded the same to me as her as a human and a unicorn.
But it is the same, but it's I couldn't stand it throughout. It just got worse as a human.
Hmm.
Um, but they decide, okay, we're going to push through. We're going to power through. We're at King Haggard's castle. They walk up to the castle and she becomes mesmerized by the ocean. Like she can't take her eyes off the ocean, the
Mhm.
unicorn. They meet these two henchmen at the door that is saying like, "Why are you here? What's your dealio, yo?" Which I really appreciated Schmendrick saying, "We're only going to talk about that with King Haggard."
Uh-huh.
And they're like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Like these guys, they could have
There's
been
no
there to
screening.
yeah, they could have been there to kill him and they're like, "All right, just tell him when you get up there."
But there's only 2 people at that whole, like, castle
Yeah,
at the
well,
top
which
of
we
the
find.
rocks.
Yeah, and you go through the castle, and this castle is, like, made out of, like, lava rock. It's dark.
It's
There's
abandoned, basically.
cobwebs. Yeah, there's,
Mhm.
like, skeletons around. There's gargoyles into the rock. They take them to King Haggard's throne room, and that's when they reveal, "Yeah, there's only us 2 here, and I am King Haggard, one of the henchmen, and then this
Mhm.
is my adopted son, Lear, who is now just, like, creeping on the unicorn woman hard."
Yeah, which King Haggard looks like, the character in Beauty and the Beast.
He does the who runs the insane asylum.
Mhm. He's very
He's
creepy, his face is sunken in.
proportions. He is, like, tall and super
Yeah.
thin, skinny fingers, gray skin,
Mhm.
balding.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty scary. Um, but he basically tells them or Schmendrick tries to say, "We're here to be a part of your court." And Haggard's not having it. He's like, "I got a court. This weird magician guy here, he poof." His magician comes up and he realizes that the girl is a unicorn and basically
Mhm.
tells Haggard, "You just brought in your doom."
Mhm.
And Haggard's like, "I don't know what you're talking about, but guess what? You guys can stay here. Schmendrick, you're now my new magician. Molly, wash the dishes."
Yeah.
He goes to
Rude.
talk to yeah, he goes to talk to the unicorn who now Schmendrick has just said, "This is my niece, Lady
It starts with an A. I
Althma
remember that.
Althea." Dang it, hold on, we gotta look it up because I gotta say her name.
Amathea?
Lady
Ama
Amalthea.
Amalthea, yeah.
Lady Amalthea. And she's just staring out the window out at the sea. And Haggard can kind of tell, like, something's different about you. Like, I can't see myself in your eyes. I see
Mhm.
woodland creatures. Very strange.
Yeah,
And she's like,
that's fair
"Ah,
enough.
don't worry about it. Like, I'm fine." But this then cuts to a weird music video moment where we see Molly washing dishes. Like, the song is about animals in the sea.
Mhm.
And like, that's what the song is about. It's about animals in the sea. But like, the images is of Molly washing dishes, Lady
Amathea.
Amathia staring out at the ocean constantly, Schmendrick trying to entertain the king, and then Prince Lear going out and like slaying dragons and all these weird mythical creatures. Like it's a
Mhm.
good 3 or 4 minute musical break that has nothing to do with the story.
Yeah.
But we come back and Lear and Molly are talking, and Lear is now in love with Amalthea, which
All of a
typical
sudden in
Disney.
yeah,
Yeah.
in 2 seconds.
And he says, "She won't even talk to me." Then how do you love her?
And it becomes, like, his mission to have her fall in love with him. Like, she's like, "I wrote this poem. Can you read it
Yeah.
for me?"
Well, he went out to go slay all these dragons to win over her affection. And then
Mhm.
Molly says, maybe she's not the person that wants that hero. Try poetry. So he does start to write her poetry. But during this time, Molly goes and talks to Amalthea, who again is just staring out at the ocean and says, like, you need to be nicer to him.
Yeah, she's basically in a trance the whole time she's there.
Yeah, and then she just starts complaining. She doesn't remember why she's here. Why is she here? Everything keeps on. She had it a second ago, but now she can't remember.
Mhm.
Just complaining, crying. And then she bursts into song about now that she's a woman. And we should have had another take at this song because the singing's bad. It's quite bad. It's bad.
I don't know why they needed songs in this movie anyways.
Yeah, I don't know why in the second half of the movie it became a musical.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
yeah.
It's very strange, but the singing voice of this song is quite bad. It's off key, out of pitch. It's really terrible. But she basically just talks about how, like, now that I'm a woman, like, all these things, I'm forgetting who I am. I'm stuck in this
Mhm.
body. I don't like who I am. Molly says, well, Schmendrick's doing all he can to, like, try to find where the Red Bull lives. Schmendrick then finds out. Is it Schmendrick?
Yeah.
No, the cat. There's a cat
Oh, yes.
there
With
that
the
lives there.
eye patch and wooden leg.
Yeah, a pirate cat
Yeah.
that in this song is sitting there and finds out, "Oh, so that's a unicorn."
Mhm.
And he tells Molly, like, the king has taken all the unicorns because that's what makes him happy for some reason. And you're never gonna find the Red Bull, but there is a skull somewhere in the castle that will tell you how to get to the Red Bull.
He
And she's
talks
like,
in riddles
"Okay."
too.
Yeah, he talks in riddles. If you solve the riddle, then you can get there.
Mhm.
So Molly tells Schmendrick that. Schmendrick then, of course, goes and looks, and they find the skull. I can't remember. Did he says a riddle, right?
The skull?
Yeah. I don't think he actually does say
No,
a
he
riddle.
doesn't. I'm
He
pretty sure
doesn't
he
say
just
a
asks
riddle.
why they're there
Yeah.
and then gets
But
obsessed with talking about alcohol.
yeah, he's like a drunk skeleton. Like he's hardcore drunkard.
Yeah.
Like might already be drunk.
Mhm.
But we cut back to King or Prince Lear is now going to give Amalthea, dang, whatever her name is, the unicorn, his poem. And they like catch each other in the hall, and she's like, "Who are you?"
She she's losing her memory more and more by every second.
But that's even worse. She's losing her memory, don't know who you are, and you're about to profess your love. Y'all are not on the same page. Like, let's just put that out
Clearly.
there. But
Clearly.
he's like throws away his poem and just starts singing to her. And then they have this amazing love ballad, which is more on key, more on tune than the
Mhm.
previous one.
Still doesn't fit the story to me.
It doesn't. By the end of the song, they're like making out
Yeah, it just
on
doesn't
like the
fit.
balcony. It doesn't fit, but they're now madly in love.
Mhm.
And the king, the next time Amalthea, whatever,
Amalthea?
Amalthea is on the balcony staring out at the ocean again, the king comes up to her and they have a conversation and he says, "I know who you are. Like you are a unicorn. You can't lie to me. Don't lie to me, or else I'll just throw you down with the Red Bull."
Yeah.
Which was just like, this is
He's
kind of like
basically
this.
saying that he's gonna kill her
Yeah, but it's
before
kind of
she
like
leaves.
it's kind of like how they used to do like to the Salem witch trials. It's like we're gonna strap you to a chair, throw you in the river. If you survive, you're a witch. If you die, you're not a witch. You're dead
Yeah.
either way.
Yeah.
Like you lie to me about being a unicorn, I'm gonna throw you into the Red Bull. You don't lie to
Mhm.
me, I'm still gonna throw you into the Red Bull. Like
Yeah.
it's yeah, he's basically saying like you can't take my uniforms from me. I will kill you before that happens.
Mhm.
But he decides to be like, okay, this isn't over, but I'm out. He leaves.
The whole scene's
Molly
random too.
also, this whole movie is random. Molly and Schmendrick come and take Amalthea and say, "Okay, it's time. We're
Mhm.
gonna go talk to this skull again. He's gonna tell us where to go." They talk to the skull and basically trick him by saying, "We have this wine for you. Drink the wine," and he becomes loosey goosey lips. Go
Mhm.
through the clock. There's some random clock over there. The bull is behind the clock.
Mhm.
So they run to the clock, but while they're running, the skeleton now sees that she's a unicorn and starts like freaking out, telling Haggard, "Come get her!" Like she's going to go through the clock.
Which reminds me of the Return to Oz scene where she's yelling. She's like, "Dorothy."
Yeah, like
That's what
he's
that scene
yeah,
reminds me of.
unicorn.
Mhm.
Haggard comes down the stairs.
With a
Molly,
sword trying
yeah,
to kill
Molly
people.
and the unicorn go through, and they end up inside the clock in like a
They say they're traveling through
fog.
time is what he says.
Yeah, it looks like a fog, a haze, wherever
Mhm.
they are, they're in a different place. And Schmendrick is now left to fight Haggard, and his fighting skills are terrible. Like
Worse
it's a
than his
cartoon.
magic skills.
It's a
Yeah.
no. Haggard's fighting skills
Oh.
with
Yeah.
his sword are pretty. This is a cartoon. You could have drawn him better, a better fighter. He's like two-handing it and like, ooh, ooh. It's just not a good fight. But Schmendrick does make it through the clock. The clock falls and Haggard starts like chopping it up. He's now on the other side. Randomly as well, Lear shows up. And Schmendrick is like, how'd you get here? And he's like, well, it's easy. I saw her. I came through. And I'm like, that was a big part that we as an audience
It
missed
never saw.
because,
Yeah.
yeah, we saw
Mhm.
everybody go through but you,
Yeah.
my dude.
Yeah.
Everybody went through but you. But
Plus, it's
this
kind
is,
of creepy. He's just following her around
yeah,
everywhere.
it's a bit much. But again, useless woman can't save herself. Here he comes. Right on time. They start going through the cavern. So the fog fades and they're like in a cavern underneath the
Mhm.
castle. And they are like, okay, we got to find the Red Bull. And this is where Schmendrick tells Lear everything, their whole story, what they're trying to do. And while they're doing this, the unicorn starts freaking out, saying to Lear, don't let him change me back. I
She
want
wants
to
to be a
love
human
you. I want
now.
to be you. I am a human.
Yeah.
Don't let him change me. Like, pick a team.
We also could have done without that too, I feel like.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like, how did this kind of like fantastical story? Yeah, I put another story about denying your true self for love.
Mhm.
Like, just because this guy's interested in you, now all of a sudden you don't care about saving the unicorns?
Yeah.
You don't care
Yeah.
about becoming a unicorn yourself?
Yeah. But I mean, what's different about this one is he wants her to be a unicorn.
That's what I put. I was like, wow, but the
Mhm.
prince goes against it. Way to go,
Yeah.
Lear. I mean, he does get a bit creepy and say, I love who I love, unicorn,
Still gonna, yeah.
unicorn, mermaid, anything.
Yeah.
Basically saying A-okay to bestiality, but tells her you can't do that. Like, you have to
Yeah.
be true to who you are.
Mhm.
And at that moment, that is when the Red Bull comes out and starts chasing them. And he gets really close to the unicorn. And at
Mhm.
that moment, Schmendrick decides, again, Molly's like, help her. And he's
Yeah.
like, great, this is the moment to turn her back into a
Even though I don't know how,
unicorn.
we'll just see what happens.
Yeah. So she turns back into a unicorn and the bull goes after her full force. They're now out of the cavern into like where the sea is,
Mhm.
and he starts backing her up into the ocean. And she's like scrambling, and they're like, again, Schmendrick and Molly are like, what do we do? And it's like, there's nothing no amount of magic can do.
Mhm. He
And
needs
then
a
he says,
hero.
she needs a
Yeah.
hero. And Lear is like, she does need a hero. I'll go stand in front of the bull.
I was gonna say he didn't do much.
He stands in front of the bull, no weapon or nothing. And then next second, the bull like hits him and he's on the ground down for the count for the next 10 minutes.
Yep. Mhm.
Like, okay, thank you, hero, for that.
Yeah.
But this now makes the unicorn mad, and she decides to fight back and starts pushing the bull into the water himself, which very anticlimactic that that's all that took to get this bull out.
I was
Because
gonna say she could have done that a long time ago.
once she starts going into the bull starts going into the water, the waves start coming up, and in the crests of the waves are all the unicorns.
Yep.
And they eventually make their way back to the land and like scamper about, which I
Mhm.
thought was funny that Molly like goes and like covers Lear to be like, don't
So it doesn't
trample
get
him.
trampled. Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't much help anyways. But all while this is happening, Haggard is watching from his like little balcony up at the castle, and he's like, I knew you were the last one.
Yeah.
And then the castle just starts crumbling when all the unicorns come out of the ocean. And he dies because he
Mhm.
falls into the water because there's not enough
Every
death in this movie.
I was gonna say everyone needs to die.
Yeah. So once all the unicorns are gone, our unicorn, see, because we don't know what her name is, our
Mhm.
unicorn comes back and touches her horn to Lear, and he wakes up. And then he's just like, oh, I want to tell her like one last time. And he sees her in the horizon. She's like, hey, I'll always remember you.
Yeah.
Thanks for loving me. And she scampers away.
Yeah.
Then it cuts to back in her forest, or back in a forest. Lear is saying goodbye to Schmendrick and Molly and thanking them and
Mhm.
like, just wishing them well, but basically saying, I wish I could have told her how I really felt. And Schmendrick says, don't worry about it. Like, she knows, but also she's the only unicorn that gets to feel the human emotion of regret.
Yeah, I don't yeah.
So like, mhm.
I don't yeah.
So don't worry about it, bro. She
Yeah.
regrets you. She
Mhm.
regrets leaving you. So she'll remember that until
Yeah.
you're long gone because she
Yeah.
lives forever. Once you die,
With
she's still,
regret,
yeah,
so
with regret, she'll still remember you.
Mhm.
And Lear's like, okay, he leaves. Molly and Schmendrick go their own way. And then when they settle down for camp, the unicorn comes up and says, like, thank you to you.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm sorry that I like caused you so much pain. And she's like, don't worry. I got to feel regret. I'm
Yeah,
the only unicorn.
I don't understand, but okay.
Yeah. And then she says, aren't you excited that you are finally now get to be the person that you were meant to be? Like, you're a magician now. And he's like, yeah, but like it came with like a cost. And I just put down like, this is one of those like, it's not a real happy ending.
Yeah.
It's like,
It
yeah, okay.
it's just
But
everyone parts their ways and moves on.
yeah, but it's like, don't worry, she'll never forget you, which is so sweet, but
Yeah.
because she has regret.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you're a magician now, but it came at a cost.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm a unicorn again, but now I feel regret. Like, it was one of the, yeah, it's not a happy
Yeah.
ending. And that's where the movie ends, is literally with them saying goodbye and her returning back to her forest.
Yeah. Which is kind of a it's not a happy ending, but it's a fitting ending to this weird movie.
Get to this messed up, like, again, pick a team. Pick a team.
Oh, goodness.
So now we must pick teams. Nicole,
Mhm.
do we think this is nostalgia or did it hold up?
It's definitely nostalgia.
It's nostalgia.
For sure.
Just,
Sorry.
and I can't even walk away saying that there's something about that. I'm like, well, no.
Yeah.
There's a
Which
lot of
again,
stuff.
that's why I'm wondering why we watch this so many times.
It could have just been supply and demand. We didn't have that many videos, so the ones we did have, we watched them all the time.
I guess. Hmm.
I don't know. Just if you please let
Clearly
us
we liked
know.
it.
Yeah, clearly we liked it for a reason. Maybe as adults, this movie just made me feel like I was on like too anxious. I had a lot of issues with it. It's nostalgia for me.
Yeah, definitely.
But that finishes this week's movie. We appreciate you guys being here. Next week, I think is going to be our last movies that scared us that shouldn't have
Yeah.
picked, which we will be watching another animated film called Little Nemo.
We're
Little
just
Nemo.
torturing ourselves for the
I think
last
that one's
month.
gonna be. I think that one's gonna come through. I have good feelings about Little Nemo. I think it's gonna come through. But
Mm.
thank you everybody for watching us on YouTube. Go ahead, give us a like, give us a comment, give us a follow. Everybody on the podcast platforms, thank you so much for downloading our episode. We will be back next week. We hope you guys are. We hope you have a wonderful movie night, and we are so sorry for putting you through this movie. Mhm.
Yep.
That's all. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.